of Boya and non-Catholics alike are currently gathering on the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral field in Moliko, Boya for this year's crusade. The crusade is expected to last 5 days. And today is International Day for Tolerance. This year's theme is tolerance and acceptance. In this newscast, we zoom into perspectives of tolerance in the local context and reality. Those were our top stories on Divine Mercy Prime tonight. We urge you to stay tuned for more stories who constitute the newscast right ahead. Good evening and thanks for taking the rendezvous with us today on yet another edition of Divine Mercy Prime on Divine Mercy Radio Television. Non-Catholics have been encouraged to attend the ongoing restoration crusade carried out by the Catholic Charismatic Renewal of the Diocese of Boya. This call was made today, November 16, 2023, by the coordinator of the Catholic Charismatic Renewal, Akemfua.
The Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Parish Field, Moliko, Boya, are some members of the Catholic Charismatic Renewal of the Diocese of Boya, together with some Christians. They are engaging in a 5-day restoration crusade holding under the theme, No More Delay. The diocesan coordinator of the Catholic Charismatic Renewal of the Diocese of Boya, while shedding light on the theme of the Restoration Crusade, encouraged Christians to participate in these crusades.
The theme of the crusade says, no more delay. That no more delay is in two phases. We have a lot of people who are going through a lot of crisis. We have a lot of people who are in pain. They are like, will this pain ever come to an end? So this is a message of hope that we prayed for, and we thought that it is a real time that God wants to reach them to do that thing that you have been asking. This is my time to fulfill that desire that you have been looking for.
This 5-day crusade, which consists of both morning and evening.
This crusade at this time, if you look lately, we have been through trauma, into psychological trauma and all of that. People have lost their loved ones and so on. And so we organize a crusade at this period, I think, by the grace
that God has dropped in me, which I will then move after this crusade and then can share with others, or we will see how we use it to promote the gospel.
This 5-day restoration crusade, which began on Wednesday, November 15, 2023, at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Parish Field, Moliko, Boya, is open to the public, irrespective of denominations.
And works at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral and the Bishop Pius Our Pastoral Center are progressing at a rapid rate. Mr. Ndeke Matthias, the contractor of both projects, say the Co-Cathedral is estimated to be at 85% completion, while the first floor of the second building at the Pastoral Center is at the level of decking. Laura Asonganyi gives us more as far as these two projects are concerned in this report.
Work keep advancing speedily at diocesan project sites. Ahead of the Thanksgiving Mass of the completion of the roof at the Co-Cathedral and fundraising of benches on Wednesday, 22nd November 2023, the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral is witnessing some major changes. Walls are being dressed for painting and staircases are tiled to perfection. Hence, Ndeke Matthias, the contractor, says the work is 85% done.
If you go there right now, you discover that at least we are about 85% done. The tilers are there, the glass cutters are there. There are so many things going on there.
Moving forward, the second building at the Pastoral Center is elevating as the first floor was digged. Ndeke wants more with the update of the project.
We are at the level of decking the first floor of the second building of the Pastoral Center. Bishop Awa Memorial Pastoral Center. As you can see, this is the decking, the first floor. And the difference between this second building and the first building is just that the ground floor of this second one will be rooms. The first building, the ground floor, it's a hall, a refectory. So this one, the 3rd floor will be rooms. So from the ground to the last floor, the other building is 39 rooms. The second building will be 52 rooms.
This process requires adequate manpower. Reason why about 60 workers are on this.
On daily basis, we work here about 28 workers. As for today, we have about 60-something workers here. You go around, you see electricians, you see the plumber, the iron benders, the manual labor, the technician up there.
All these projects are being executed in anticipation of the grand celebration of the 75th anniversary of the Diocese of Boya in 2025.
The population of Boya, Cameroon and the world at large have been encouraged to prevent and manage chronic diseases by consuming nutritious food and fruits, as there is an incredible increase in the prevalence of chronic diseases. The call was made by medical stakeholders of CUIB and Delaware State University of America during a televised conference held under the theme Nutrition and the Management of Chronic Diseases. This symposium held on November 15, 2023. Teke Eposi Magdalene was part of this symposium. She now reports.
Catholic University Institute of Boya, CUIB, in partnership with Delaware State University of America, this day, November 25, 2023, organized an international symposium to curb chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, hepatitis in Boya, Cameroon, and the world at large. The conference took place under the theme, Nutrition and the Management of Chronic Diseases. Chronic diseases are long-lasting diseases derived from genetic inheritance or individual negligence. The activity, which took place at the CUIB conference hall, brought together medical stakeholders and some students of that institution. During the enriching conference, medical stakeholders did presentations on the prevalence of chronic diseases in Boya, the types of chronic diseases that has been leading to deaths over the years, causes and how these diseases could be prevented and managed through consuming nutritious food and fruits. One of the guest speakers from the Delaware State University in America says, this conference is important as it will help improve the health condition of Cameroonians and the world at large.
Issues of chronic disease could be able to be managed through nutrition. As I said, nutrition is medicine. Through medicine, we could be able to manage some of these diseases so that people can be able to live longer, and some of these diseases don't become a burden, to reduce their productivity and create an economic havoc for the society. And so this is a very important conference. It's important because not only are we educating students, we are also educating them so that they could also educate their parents, their loved ones, to be able to take care of some of the issues that relates to their health, and that can be managed through nutrition, and that can be prevented through nutrition.
Meantime, students who participated in the...
You have to repeat a certain diet so as to obtain the various food nutrients such as carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and fats.
We have been taught that there are some non-controllable factors that can lead to these diseases, and are the ones that we can control. So the non-controllable ones is just about your diet, your everyday life.
Generally, 41 million people die of chronic diseases across the globe, and Cameroonians between 30 to 70 years are at risk of dying from these diseases. The population of Boya, Cameroon, and the world are therefore called upon to stop practicing passive smoking, consuming unhealthy diets, harmful use of alcohol, get quality sleep, reduce stress level, reduce the level of stress, get involved in sporting activities and taking care of the environment. By this, the burden of dealing with chronic diseases will reduce by 2035. Participants of this educative conference directed questions to the stakeholders, to which they replied. These participants have been called upon to share the knowledge in their various communities.
The population in the localities in some localities in Boya, Mutengene, Limbe, Tiko have expressed gratitude to the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, for intervening in children's in the northwest and southwest regions. A team today, led by the country's director for Cameroon, stopped at the various project sites to officially hand over the projects to the beneficiary population. Let's quickly now listen to some beneficiaries of these projects by UNICEF.
To live here right up to Boya Road, it was very difficult for us. So a lot of people in this community, they were really suffering for water. So to go to right to Boya Road, where the gendarme post is there, crossing the road for children, mothers, and every people that they have work to do, it was not really easy. So for you to do something that will be more better for you, at least you may pay some truck guys for 200 francs per jog for them to transport you water. So that's the difficulty that we have. So we are really appreciating UNICEF for the water that they have already brought us to this community. So they have really solved a lot of problems in our community.
Officer of CMA Limbe. We are here today because they give us mattress, baby scale, adult scale, BP machine. Yes, voila, reagent and many reagents for the laboratory. And we appreciate the fact that because we have many losses at the laboratory.
Of opinions and behaviors that one dislikes or disagrees with at the level of families, job sites, along the streets, or anywhere people are. In observing this important day, some denizens of the Boya municipality say the best way to practice tolerance is ignoring people's negative behaviors.
For me, I don't meet kind people the way they show me bad character. For me, my own idea, we have me, I do tolerate, and I see when I say answer, I do ignore them. Sometimes I do be perseverance with them, because not be all my way. You come across it, you're being nice for you. So end up being nice, so end up being rude. All I say, you don't need to understand people that lifestyle they had it.
That or father, you can never be the same. People have their flaws. So for you to actually move on and make peace with them, you have to accommodate those flaws for you to actually live in peace with those people and to actually make them a better version of themselves. So that's the only way you can really make them better versions of themselves, by accommodating their flaws. Because you too, other people also try to accommodate your own flaws in order to live happily with you. So nobody is actually the same and nobody is actually perfect.
And believes no matter what race, religion or nationality they may come from. The day also calls for dialogue and education to change stereotype and prejudices, fostering a global environment where people of all backgrounds and behaviors can coexist peacefully with little or no intolerance.
In our foreign news roundup today, Madagascar is holding presidential elections despite an opposition boycott following weeks of protests. Meanwhile, President Lazarus Chakwera has frozen all international travels for Malawi government officials, including himself and cabinet ministers. And the first fuel tank enters Gaza from Egypt since the start of the war. Laura Asangani gives us details in this foreign news roundup.
Voters in Madagascar have headed to the polls this Thursday
in a presidential election boycotted by 10 out of 12 opposition candidates, blemished by weeks of violent protest. People lined up at polling stations in areas supporting President Andry Rajoelina and his Young Malagasy People Party, while those in opposition neighborhoods were mostly empty. Rajoelina, who is seeking a third term, warned opponents that trying to prevent people from voting was unlawful, as he cast his vote flanked by his wife and children. President Rajoelina faces growing isolation after leading opposition figures, including 2 former presidents, declared him unfit to run and called on their supporters to abstain from voting. According to the World Bank, Madagascar is one of the poorest countries in the world, with 75% of people living below the national poverty line in 2022. So whoever is going to take over will be expected to address widespread poverty among other challenges. Still in Africa, Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has suspended with immediate effect all international travel involving himself and all government officials. He also ordered all ministers currently out of the country to return home. Speaking in a televised address on Wednesday night, he announced restrictions on local travel and the reduction by half of the fuel allocation to cabinet members and senior government officials. The measure will be in place until the end of the financial year next March. The president asked the Minister of Finance to make provisions for a reasonable wage increase for all civil servants in the next budget review. He also directed a reduction of income tax in the new budget so as to help workers whose pay has lost value as a result of inflation. The president's move comes as the International Monetary Fund approved a 4-year credit facility for Malawi worth $174 million, just days after the country